Okay, so for the remainder of this week, we're going to be working on creating a Thanksgiving Day dinner map. And I'm going to walk you through how to do this since I'll be out of the class both on Wednesday and Thursday. So follow along in these series of videos and you should be able to create your own Thanksgiving Day map. And if you want, on Friday, I will print them out and you can bring them home to your parents. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is go and get our data off of the Burgess Share. So you're going to go to the Burgess Share and you're going to open the Holiday Labs folder. And under the Holiday Labs folder, there's a folder called Thanksgiving. So I want you to copy that folder. Copy. And then bring it over to your GIS folder. So I'm going to open up my GIS folder. And I am going to put it right here in my GIS folder. So I'm going to paste it. So just like we did with the Veterans Day folder, I want to make sure that you understand what kind of data you're going to be working with. So you want to double click and open up the Thanksgiving Day 2007 data. Okay, so what you're going to be doing here is we're going to be making a map of what we see on our plate for Thanksgiving based on the amount of food that has been grown around the United States. So if you notice, our geography is column A, so everything is divided by state. And then we have our crops and our livestock, which you will see across row 1. So we have things like green beans, curberry, which would be cranberry, squash, if we scroll over, sweet corn, which is sweet corn, sweet potato, turkeys, and wheat. And the last one, the FIP, that's actually just a placeholder number that's used in databases, so you don't have to worry about that number. All of this data was downloaded from the United States Agriculture, Department of Agriculture, USDA, and this is part of what they call the agriculture census. So you might notice some weird numbers in our data, these negative 99s. You can't have negative 99 turkeys inside of a state. What this number actually represents, if we look at our states over here, this number represents the fact that we just don't know what that state produced. So we don't know whether or not Arkansas actually produced any celery or grew any celery. We don't know whether or not Arizona did because they didn't report it. So we can't say that it's a definitive 0 because when we say 0, 0 is a number. So Alabama reported that they produced 0 tons of celery or 0 barrels of cranberry. But they didn't report whether or not, Arkansas didn't report whether or not it produced any celery. So negative 99 is a placeholder, and it has to be numeric because this column of data are all numbers, and you cannot put text such as not available or did not report. You can't put that in this cell because everything in here is read as a number, and we want to make quantity maps in ArcGIS, and we want to make sure that they're numeric in value. So that's what that means. So we look through, you're going to be deciding what are the most important crops and most important food that you put on your plate, and you're going to be mapping that. So now we have our data. So the next thing that I want you to do is close your spreadsheet because we don't want it open. And then we are going to open up Arcmap. And we're going to open up a blank Arcmap. And don't forget, we need to add our shapefile to Arcmap so that we can start putting together our map. So we know what our data is. Now we need to add our shapefile. So as Arcmap is opening, we want to make sure we open a blank map. So you can just hit cancel, and we have a blank map here. We're starting with nothing. So we are going to add data to our map. So all of the data, especially the shapefiles, can be found on the S drive or the Burgess Share. And we need to scroll out to that. Now you should already be connected to the S drive by hitting this drop down. You should see this S drive. If you do not, then you need to connect to it using the Connect to Folder button. And if you cannot see the S drive, you connect to folder, you choose this PC, you scroll down till you see Burgess, you click it once, it shows up down here, and then you hit OK. But I'm already connected, so I can just go here. So as I go into my S drive, I look for my GIS data folder. I open that up because this is where all the shape files are that I need for my map. I open up USA and I add my USA shapefile to the map. Now I want to add my Excel data that we just looked at, the Thanksgiving data. So I'm going to go back to the add data. And I'm going to need to go find that data in my documents folder, my GIS folder. So I'm going to go into that folder. And I'm going to find my Thanksgiving Day folder, my data. I'm going to choose add. And I'm given 3 options. Sheet 2 and 3 do not have any data in them. It's the Thanksgiving sheet that has data. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to add it. And then before I do anything else, I want to right mouse click and make sure I can see my data. Did it add to my map correctly? And it did. And you can see that the states are listed below, are listed on the column here. And you can also see the data is across the top. So our data is here. So before I do anything, I'm going to hit File. I'm going to Save As, and I'm going to put my Thanksgiving Day map into my folder. So that I don't lose it. And I'm just going to call it Thanksgiving Dinner, because this is what my map is going to be about. And I'm going to hit Save.